Hello friends, welcome to the Carnegie Library. My name is Caitlin Kelly, I'm the director of the Montague Public Libraries, and today we're going to explore the various challenges that are associated with this building, our main library. By making it to the top of the stairs, we've actually surmounted our first obstacle. These stairs are beautiful, but they're really slippery when they're wet, and they're like too tall and steep, and they pose a challenge for folks with strollers and folks who have mobility problems. Beautiful front door, which when it's really cold gets stuck because of the metal, and when it's really warm or wet it gets stuck because of the swelling wood. You can see we actually have it now propped open so that people don't think that we're closed. Another issue that patrons have when trying to enter the building is parking. We have several parking spots along Avenue A, but it's a really busy road and the spots are far away from the curb cut. So if you're in a wheelchair or we have a stroller, you have to go all the way down to the end past the memorials in order to access the curb cut. Also, we only have one solo handicap accessible space, which is around the other side of the building. We're very grateful to the DPW for installing it in the last couple of years, as along with our brand spanking new back driveway. The problem is that it's very far from our actual back entrance, which has an accessible ramp. Come take a look. So as you can see, if you're using a wheelchair or have a stroller to bring your kiddos to the library, it takes quite a long time to actually get into the building. And once you're inside, you can't fit through this door, which is not wide enough to meet ADA requirements. So you have to go through over here through the children's area. Okay, welcome to the children's room. As you can see, it's pretty small. We don't have any space for children's technology, no computers. We don't even have space for adult-sized chairs where parents can read to their kiddos. So there's definitely some challenges in here. Though we, of course, do have Maggie the Moose. What some of you may not know is that this space is also our teen area. These shelves right here contain our YA collection, but they don't get as much use as they might since teens don't necessarily want to come hang out with all the kiddos next to their picture books. Okay, as we get into the main entrance, we have our Library of Things collection, which has everything from a handheld vacuum to a tool set, a food dehydrator, and a Belgian waffle maker. This collection is very popular. Unfortunately, we are running out of space. Okay, now to the main circulation area with my amazing coworkers, Colleen and Scott, and I've asked them to speak a little bit about the challenges that they see facing patrons. Take it away.
When this library was designed, it wasn't designed for the public to actually go back into the stacks and retrieve their own items. Librarians would do that for them. There are gates on either side, which we don't use nowadays. But because it was designed that way, there's not a lot of room back there because it was only meant to be for the librarians. The aisles are not wide enough for instance, a wheelchair. And it leads us to having to stack things in ways that are not ideal. We've got things very high
and very low, and we've got some strange sections that go around the windows in ways that are not necessarily intuitive to our patrons.
Now we're going to take a look at our only public restroom. As you can see, it's in the hallway, which is unheated. It means that it's rather chilly in there during the winter time. You cannot fit a wheelchair in here, nor can you turn around. It's also very challenging for parents with small kids to help them use the restroom. Now, the library does have a second story, which for years and years and years was used as programming space. Many people recall bringing their kiddos to music and movement up there over the years. However, we are no longer allowed to host any programs up there because the space is not accessible. There are steps all the way up, and we do not have an elevator. Welcome to the reading room. This space is where all of the computing, writing, reading, and adult services happen. Welcome. As you can see, things are a little bit tight in here. We have collections over here, we have the computers over here. There's not much space, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable when staff come over to try to assist patrons with computer and technology issues. We have 2 comfortable chairs, which are essentially in a hallway between the front entrance and the computers. If we were to have a new library space, we would have a completely separate reading room with plenty of comfortable chairs. Now we're in the local history room, which was just reopened last year after being used for almost a decade as staff workspace. While the library trustees and I have been the best stewards that we can be of this beautiful building, we do find that there are cracks in many places, and the building has a number of different kinds of hazardous materials that are no longer in use. And we also have inefficient systems which make the building more costly to heat and cool. Okay, next we're going to go to the staff entrance, which is also kind of the staff break room. Okay, this is the staff entrance, but it's also where staff have to heat their food. So we don't have a proper staff room, break room for our folks, and they really deserve it. They don't deserve to eat in their cars. And our last stop for the day, we're going to take a trip down to the basement. All right, and the last stop on our tour today is the Friends book sale room. This is where the Friends store all of our deaccessioned and donated books and sell them to the public. It's our main fundraiser, and it supports programs at the library. Unfortunately, because it's in the basement, the book sale room is not accessible, and we've received countless complaints about this space not being accessible to folks with disabilities. One thing to note is that this space is not heated, nor is it insulated, which means that our amazing volunteers have to work down here in their winter coats. A new library would have a gorgeous new space for them, just for the Friends, and it would be accessible to all. And that concludes our tour. Thank you so much for joining us today, and please consider how a new main library can support yourself and your friends and neighbors.